All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So it's time to compare two of my favorite phones. I've often recommended the 3A as a phone that you should definitely purchase. If you're in the market for a mid-range device, or you don't want to break the bank and you want Google's best offering, to me, that is the 3A. And right now, this one came out, I think, in May, and this one just hit us in December. So at the recording of this video, it is late December, and I want to show you guys just how great these phones are, and I'm going to compare them side by side. So we're going to start with just a real brief comparison. I'm trying not to make this too long, but you know, if it turns out to be a long video, you've been warned. Try to keep it under 10 minutes. So we'll start with just the general specs of the phones. This has a 6-inch display on the Pixel 3A XL, and this has a 6.5-inch display on the Samsung Galaxy A51. If you notice in size, the A51 is a little bit shorter and definitely a little bit more narrow. Now, I loaded up the same wallpaper. It's one of the default wallpapers on the A51, but I found it on the internet and put it on the Pixel 3 AXL. So you got a bigger screen and a smaller body. And this also weighs a lot less too. This is 167 and this is 172, and you can actually feel it. Now, both of these are plastic bodies with a glass front. So keep note of that. This is a dual SIM with an SD card, and this is not a dual SIM, but it does have eSIM support. You've got 128 gigs with 6 gigs of RAM, and again, that SD card. And over here you have 4 gigs with 64. So you've got a Snapdragon 670 in here, and then you've got in the Pixel 3A XL, and then in the Samsung you have the Exynos 9611, both 10 nanometer chips, and this is all techie stuff right here. What can I say about that? I think that's about it. Like cameras, you've got a 48 megapixel main one on here, and then on the Samsung, and then on the Google you have a 12 megapixel, and obviously this is a 4 camera setup, and then you've got a 32 megapixel on the front of the Samsung, and then you have a just an 8 megapixel on the front of the Pixel. Now, as far as glass goes, you've got Gorilla Glass 3, and then on the Pixel you have that Dragon Trail glass. So all of that stuff out of the way. Build quality. So the Samsung is the challenger. So this phone looks stunning. It takes on the latest design with a little pinhole camera in the center there. You got a little bit of speaker grill up top, Type-C, a headphone jack. You've got one bottom firing speaker, power button, volume rocker, a microphone up top, SIM tray on this side, obviously another microphone on the bottom, and then you got that sweet looking camera set up down here, the L, and then you have a dual tone LED flash. So this is actually a 48, a 12, and 2 5s. They're all wide, and you have one ultra wide with the 12 megapixel. And then you got a little bit of Samsung branding and this beautiful shimmer on the device. And again, flip it over to the front, you've got a 6.5-inch display. That's just absolutely ridiculous. It's a very small and thin and lightweight device. It measures in at 7.9, and this measures in at 8.2. So here is the Pixel 3A XL. This is still a beautiful design. A lot of people hate this design, but I personally think it's okay. Nothing wrong with it. You got a fingerprint reader on the back. Oh yeah, and this one does have facial recognition and an in-screen fingerprint reader. This one has a rear fingerprint reader. You got that signature colored power button. You got your volume rocker, headphone jack, microphone, and then you've got Type-C and a speaker and a microphone on the bottom. SIM tray on this side, and then you have some Google branding, and then you just got the regular 6-inch display on the front. So the Pixel has stereo speakers, and the Samsung does not. It just has that bottom firing speaker. So a lot of you guys wanted to hear the speakers, so let's get into it. I'm going to fire up something, and we'll play some sound from both. All right, so I got the Samsung loaded up first. a brief clip there for you. And now let's get fired up on the Pixel. So there you have it. I don't want to play that too long. It's late in the evening while I'm recording. So, but nonetheless, this is ridiculously loud on the Pixel. And so the Pixel is going to win the media for sure. But that was just a quick sample because a lot of you guys wanted to hear the speakers on the Samsung. So, yeah, hardware though, I give it to the Samsung. It's a beautiful setup. Just look at the full screen here. And the Pixel kind of suffers from brightness. As you can see the brightness there, it's almost all the way up. And then if you look at the Samsung, it's almost all the way down. So you're looking at about 45% versus 65%, roughly 70. And you can just see how much more vivid and the Samsung looks. So hardware and design, everything goes to the Samsung. Now, when you talk about performance, I think they're both pretty fast, but we'll go ahead and pop open some apps here. You can see they both popped it open pretty fast. Let's switch accounts here and see if I got this account. Oh, I don't have the account loaded, so we'll just leave them as is. Let me see here. All right, now let's close these out. Close all, open them up. And you see the Pixel, even though it has less RAM, the optimization of stock Android is incredible. But is that enough? Is that enough to make you say, oh my gosh, it's slow? And you see in that situation, YouTube opened faster on the Samsung. So I think it's just a matter of, let's open the camera up. And that opened faster on the Pixel. So I think software, performance, I give the edge to the Pixel just because I like stock Android and it's blazing fast, even though it has 4 gigs of RAM. But the Samsung is fast. But since I favor stock Android, and I think it's the way to go, the Pixel's going to get updates. Even though Samsung launched this with Android 10, folks, and One UI 2.0, in the end, this phone will probably get more software updates over time. So, I don't know. This part of the video is personal preference. I like stock Android, but I also like Samsung's One UI 2.0, man. It's fast. It's fast and it's very fluid. So it's really good. So, performance, I'm not going to call it a wash. I'm going to go ahead and give it to the Pixel. It's a fast experience, man. It's blazing fast, and stock Android is tried and true and definitely the best way to go. Now, so I've tested the speakers. I told you about the hardware. I told you about the software. Battery life. There's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery in the Samsung, and then there's a 3,700 milliamp hour battery in the Pixel. But both of these kind of bang out the same distance when it comes to battery. Samsung has this phone optimized very well, and you just can't shake a leg at it. It has a little bit bigger battery, but that doesn't really mean much because optimization is the key. And these perform about the same. The Pixel is guaranteed to grab you at least 6.5 to 8, and so is this phone. So battery life to me is about a tie, if you really want to know. I don't really have a bad day on battery from either one of these phones. Straight up, they're both really, really solid. So keep that in mind when you're comparing the two. Now, let's take some photos. Let's go and take a photo of this. And it auto adjusts on its own. Wow, that's pretty solid. I'm just going to sit this right here. It processes the image. To me, the Pixel just takes some of the best photos. But in this quick setting, this Pixel's just finished processing everything. As I look at these, if you look at them through the viewfinder, the Pixel is going to have some more detail around the Netflix logo. But the Samsung tends to have more sharpness around all the lettering down here. and it looks a little washed, a little flatter or softer on the pixel around that. But you know, we'll see how that plays out. But photo taking, let's do a portrait shot here. We can do just a macro shot. Now you probably won't be able to see this too well until I pop it up, but pixel takes a second to process. That's absolutely stunning. Now let's do the same thing with the Samsung. It'll focus on the device. The pixel focuses a heck of a lot faster. There we go. It's beautiful. Now I could go to macro shot, which is what I'll do with the Samsung, because that's, you know, no, I'm not gonna do a macro shot. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it as is, as a regular photo, because the pixel, I didn't make any changes. And the pixel's colors appear to be more punchy and vibrant, but the Samsung seems to be a little more crisp. That's a tough one. They both blur out the cable really well. That's a tough one, man. But whew, yeah, that's a tough one. They both take great photos on the rear. And then I'll go ahead and do a selfie real quick off camera. So, you know, the Pixel is just the king of photos, I think. It definitely makes it look a little bit more natural. The Samsung looks okay. Not the best, but looking at these over video, it's probably kind of difficult. But nonetheless, and while the Pixel wins in the camera battle for sure, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't win by much though. You know, I think it's a matter of personal preference when it comes to these photo taking. It's going to depend on how you like it. Yeah, I think that's about personal preference. So I like them both. For video, the Samsung definitely wins. You know, that's just let me take some video so I can show you. All right, here's front-facing video on the Samsung A51. Here's front-facing video on the Pixel 3a XL. Here is rear video on the Samsung Galaxy A51. Here is rear video on the Pixel 3a XL. So there's video. Samsung kills it to me. I think Samsung does very well. So if I have to rate these as an overall package for cameras, I have to give it to the Samsung because video is important and photos are actually fantastic on here. But Google wins, the Pixel wins for like portrait shots and some still shots, but the Samsung A51 is still right up there and better in video and right there in photos. So the Samsung A51 has more camera modes, but I didn't want to do too much different to alter. I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as is. And so with all the alterations that you can do with the Samsung camera, I mean, it's just a way more advanced system. It records 4K on the front and the rear. It just does so much more. So I give the complete camera package to the Samsung Galaxy A51. So I covered a few things here for you guys. Let's cover price. This is $300, upwards of $330, and this is $350, upwards of $480 for the Pixel 3a XL. So this is kind of a no-brainer. The Samsung wins. But with all that said, and all this going back and forth with these two devices, which one do I like better? Well, I like the Samsung Galaxy A51 better. I think it's a better package. And this phone right here is a phone that I recommended to a lot of people in 2019. But as we close out 2019, look at what's offered here. Look at the difference in build quality. Look at the difference in screen size and what you're getting for price. You know, this is a huge improvement, and we win, folks. The 3a XL is not a bad phone, but the Samsung Galaxy A50 is better. So, look at how far we've come. Some of you guys might look at that little hole in the screen. That's great. It's flawless. The speakers are better on the Pixel. It takes some better portrait shots. The battery is equally balanced. I like the hardware better on the A51. The screen is better on the A51. It has an in-screen fingerprint reader, facial recognition. This has a rear-mounted fingerprint reader, which is nothing wrong with that. You got a 4-camera setup over here, wide, ultra wide, macro. It's just a lot going on. So, and I didn't go into detail with that. I just did a couple sample shots and everything. So, but I'm telling you, of these two devices, the winner is an easy pick for me. It's the Samsung Galaxy A51. To me, it's a more well-rounded device. And I know that the 3A is the older device. So if this came out just 6 months ago or so. So it's not that old. And it's still a hot seller. So you can get one of these for $350, get it. Or you can get the smaller version for $250, get it. It's a great deal. But if you want a up-to-date, more current design, fantastic, better cameras for video and photos. It doesn't have the stronger stereo speakers, but it does have everything just about that a person could need. This is the ultimate Samsung device. And to me, this has become the ultimate budget phone because it actually stands toe to toe with some flagships. Now, if I would have compared this to the 4XL, what would have been different from comparing it with the 3XL? The only thing that's different to me, it's got a faster processor in my 4XL, and 4XL has a better processor, technically better, I guess, if you want to say that. But the cameras, I think they still would not hold up to the cameras on the A51. And then, the battery life is definitely going to be better on the A51 than the Pixel 4 XL. This comparison would have probably been about the same. Hardware is better on the Pixel 4 XL, almost. But the Pixel 4 XL is a chunky device just like this device when you compare it to this device. So I don't know. I think the A51 is the better purchase than the 3XL and definitely the Pixel 4. So this device came out of nowhere, and I think it's really shining on everything in my catalog right now. So it's your man Jay. Decided to go ahead and record this video with the Samsung Galaxy Fold. You let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Winner, Samsung Galaxy A51.